Hello from Mindset Daily, wishing you a day full of health, peace, and happiness. Thank you for watching the Mindset Daily channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support us. Thank you so much.
Ever feel like time is slipping through your fingers, but you can't figure out when it started? Have you ever looked back and realized entire years blurred into moments? What if the life you want is waiting on the other side of just one decision, but you never make it? One of the most brutally honest truths I've ever heard, one that only truly sank in as I got older, is this: time waits for no one. It moves with or without your permission. It keeps flowing whether you're ready or not, whether you're paying attention or completely distracted. When you're young, you feel like there's all the time in the world. The days stretch long, and the future seems like some distant place that will always be there, patiently waiting. But no one tells you what actually happens as life begins. The days pick up speed. The pace quickens. Life starts flying forward the moment you stop paying close attention. 1 minute, high school is a vivid reality, and the next, it's a fading memory. Blink again, and you're in your 30s, looking around and quietly asking yourself, how did I get here so fast? You start noticing that the people you assumed would always be by your side, some of them aren't anymore. You catch yourself wondering, did I ever say what really mattered? Did I actually do what I always said I would? Or did I just keep pushing it off, hoping for more time? We all grow up believing a myth that someday we'll feel ready to take the leap, ready to make the change, ready to chase the dream, fix the broken things, or offer forgiveness. We imagine there will be this magical moment where courage just shows up. But here's the hard truth: that moment never comes. No matter how old you get, you rarely feel ready. You might think adults have everything figured out, walking around with unwavering confidence. But let me tell you the truth, most of us are still figuring it out as we go. Still doubting, still wondering if we're doing life right. And that's what makes time such a complicated teacher. It moves fast, but it teaches slow. Often, it's only in hindsight that we understand what really mattered. We look back and see the joy we missed because we were too busy. We remember the days we wasted being angry, insecure, or trying too hard to become what others expected of us. And somewhere in that reflection, we realized the most sobering truth of all. We were always just one decision away from living a completely different life. But we didn't take the chance because we thought we had time. And I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying it to wake you up. Because one of the most dangerous lies we tell ourselves is later. I'll call them later. I'll start that thing later. I'll slow down and enjoy life later. But later is not a guarantee. Later is a luxury. Eventually, you run out of laters. One day you wake up, and suddenly there's more behind you than ahead of you. And that's when this truth cuts the deepest. You don't get time back. It doesn't pause. It doesn't rewind. I once sat across from a man in his 90s, sharp as ever, full of wisdom and stories. And he looked at me and said something I'll never forget. You know what I wish someone told me when I was 30? That life doesn't warn you when the best days are happening. He said they just come and go, and it's only later that you realize you were living in them. That stayed with me, because it's so easy to miss the beauty of right now when your mind is always racing ahead. We live like we're sprinting towards some finish line, convinced that peace or joy or success is somewhere out there in the distance. But the truth is, the moments that matter are happening right here in the middle of all the noise. So what do we do with that? What does it really mean to live when you understand that time is short, precious, and never promised? It means you stop waiting. You stop waiting for the perfect moment, for someone else to say it's okay, for a flawless plan to magically fall into place. You stop assuming that the people you love will always be there. You stop postponing your joy as if you have endless chances to come back to it. It means you stop wasting energy trying to appear impressive and start investing in being fully present. Because this, right here, is where your life is actually happening. You want to know what wisdom sounds like? The kind that comes from someone who's lived long enough to carry both regrets and reflections? It sounds like this. I wish I had let myself be happy. I wish I had taken more risks. I wish I had spent more time with the people who truly mattered. That's the kind of regret you hear in quiet voices years after the moment has passed. You know what I've never heard anyone say? I wish I had worked more overtime. Or, I'm so glad I waited until I was 100% confident. So, let this be your wake-up call. Not in a dramatic, panic-inducing way, but in the way a close friend might grab your shoulders, look you in the eyes, and say, hey, don't miss this. Don't sleep through your own life. You're not too young. You're not too late. And you're not too broken to begin again. You don't have to know exactly what's ahead. You just have to start. Even the longest, most meaningful journey begins with one small, shaky, unsure step. So don't wait to feel ready. Just be brave enough to move forward anyway. One of the hardest truths that start to settle in as you grow older is this: people leave. Sometimes slowly, sometimes without warning, sometimes forever. And more often than not, you don't see it coming. We go through so much of life believing there will always be more time, more conversations, more dinners, more chances to fix what's broken. But life doesn't send a notification when it's the last time you'll see someone. There's no calendar invite for that final goodbye. It just happens. And afterward, you're left holding whatever was said, or worse, whatever was never said. I've spoken with people in their 80s and 90s who can still recall, in vivid detail, the last words they exchanged with someone they loved. Why? Because those final moments were ordinary. A quick goodbye, a casual see you later, that never actually came. And they carry that memory with them. Sometimes with a smile, sometimes with a quiet ache that never really goes away. And that's when you begin to realize we waste so much time. We stay stubborn. We hold grudges. We assume there will be a next time to apologize, to reconnect, to forgive. But when people drift away, when they move on, when they die, it hits like a freight train. You're reminded of how quickly life can change, how little control you really have. And yet, we still live like we're invincible. We act like the people we love are permanent. We believe there will always be another chance, so we postpone the apology. We hold back the I love you. We assume they already know. But let me tell you something clearly, don't wait. Don't wait to say what's weighing on your heart. Don't wait to speak the truth that could change everything. Don't wait to forgive someone, especially when their absence would leave a space in your life too wide to ever truly fill. Sometimes forgiveness isn't about who deserves it. It's about what you're willing to carry. And here's the thing, not all grief comes from death. Sometimes life simply moves people in different directions. Friends you thought would be around forever start to fade out of touch. Family members become distant. Relationships shift in ways you never expected. And more often than not, we're so busy managing our own lives, our responsibilities, our distractions, our pain, that we don't even notice how far someone has drifted until it feels almost impossible to reach them again. We don't talk enough about that quiet grief. The kind that comes from losing someone who's still alive. The kind that sneaks up on you in quiet moments. And with it comes guilt. The kind that whispers, maybe I should have called. Maybe I should have said something sooner. I've heard people say things like, I wish I had called more often. Or, I wish I hadn't let something so small grow into something so wide between us. And those words, they linger. They become warning signs, echoes of what we should learn from, if we're paying attention. Right now, I want you to think about someone you haven't spoken to in a while. Maybe it's someone you love, someone you deeply care for, but haven't told lately. Maybe it's someone you need to make peace with. Or maybe it's simply someone you miss. What's keeping you from reaching out? Ego, fear, that thought in the back of your mind that they should call you first. Let me tell you this. Pride makes a terrible companion when you're sitting alone with memories and regret. It won't keep you warm at night. It won't make you feel whole. But love, spoken, expressed, acted on, that stays. That lives on in people long after the moment passes. It becomes part of their story and yours. And it's never too small to matter. It's never too late to try. I'm not saying it's easy. Relationships can be complicated. The wounds can run deep. The past may feel tangled and raw. But here's what you need to remember. Silence doesn't heal. Distance doesn't resolve. And time doesn't always fix what we avoid. You have to be the one to pick up the phone, to write the message, to show up imperfectly, honestly, even if it feels uncomfortable. Even if it doesn't go the way you hoped, at least you'll know in your heart that you tried. And sometimes that alone is enough to begin the healing. I've seen strong men break down in tears, not because they didn't love their fathers, but because they never said, "I'm sorry," before it was too late. I've listened to grown women speak with deep, quiet guilt that's lived inside them for decades, all because they never told their mothers how much they admired them. I've heard stories of best friends, once inseparable, who never found their way back to each other. And the thing they all share, the thing you see in their eyes as they talk, isn't just sorrow. It's silence, a quiet pain that lingers, not just for the people they lost, but for the words they never said. So don't wait until a funeral to speak your heart. Don't let the final words between you and someone you love be words you regret. Or worse, words that were never spoken at all. Reach out, speak up, say what's been sitting inside you. Let people know they are loved, appreciated, and valued, even if it's been years, even if it's awkward, even if you're not sure how it will land. Because one day, you won't have the chance. And in that moment, you'll wish for just one more conversation. One more opportunity to say the thing you never said. Don't let that happen. Don't let time or pride or fear steal your voice. Say the things now that you'll wish you said later. One of the most surprising things about getting older is realizing that no one really has it all figured out. We grow up assuming that someone out there, someone older, wiser, more experienced, has the answers. We think there's this magical point in adulthood where everything clicks and you finally feel like a real grown-up, fully prepared to handle whatever life throws your way. But the truth? That point never comes. No one is ever completely ready. Not for heartbreak, not for change, not for loss or failure or even success. We're all just doing our best, improvising as we go, hoping we're making the right choices, and often learning far too late what we wish we'd known sooner. Not even the people who look like they have it all together truly do. When you're young, you look at adults and assume they figured life out. They've got the steady jobs, the homes, the families. From the outside, it all looks so certain, so stable, like they know exactly what they're doing. But the truth? Most of them, most of us, are just figuring it out day by day. We're navigating life with a little more experience, a few more lessons under our belts, but we still don't know exactly what's around the corner. No one does. We're all playing the hand we've been dealt, doing the best we can with what we know. And the truth is, that's enough. Here's something we don't talk about nearly enough. We spend so much of our lives waiting to feel ready. We wait for the right time. That magical moment when we'll feel brave, smart, or stable enough to take the next step. We think we'll suddenly wake up one day with all the answers, finally prepared for the leap. But that moment, it almost never comes. You never truly feel 100% ready. You never feel completely prepared. And if you keep waiting for that feeling, you'll keep postponing the most important parts of your life. The people I admire most, the ones who built something meaningful, who found joy, who made an impact, they didn't wait until everything was perfectly lined up. They moved forward when it was messy. They took the first step not because they were fully confident, but because they were willing to learn along the way. They didn't wait for perfect timing or flawless conditions. They just started, and through action, they discovered strength they didn't know they had. And this isn't just about careers or major life moves. It's about everything: love, healing, growth, forgiveness, change. We hold ourselves back, convinced we need all the answers up front. We think we need to be fully qualified, fully prepared, fully healed. But the truth is, the only way to figure it out is to start, to show up, to try, to stumble, and to keep going. Because clarity doesn't always come before the leap. It comes through it. I've seen so many people hold themselves back, people with incredible ideas, kind hearts, and real passion, who never took the leap. Not because they didn't care or didn't want it badly enough, but because they believed they needed more. More experience, more knowledge, more certainty. But the truth is, you'll never feel fully qualified. You'll never wake up one day and magically feel like you have every answer lined up. And guess what? That's completely okay. The people you admire, the ones who inspire you, didn't start with it all figured out. They didn't wait until they were perfectly ready. They stepped forward with what they had, and they figured it out on the way. They learned, they failed, they adjusted. And in the process, they grew into the people you now see as confident, capable, and wise. Some of the most valuable life lessons come not from success, but from failure, from missteps, from launching too early, from trying and not getting it right the first time. We often look around and assume that the people who seem to have it all together must be more talented, more confident, more equipped than we are. But when you really get to know them, you realize they're just as human as you. They've made bad decisions. They've doubted themselves. They've sat in silence, wondering if they're enough. They've faced the same fears and fought the same inner battles. They might look like they're coasting now, but the road that brought them here was paved with uncertainty. And you know what? It's not just okay to not have it all together. It's normal. Because life isn't something you master. It's something you move through. And there's no GPS, no master plan that shows you exactly which turn to take next. We all have to find our way. Sometimes we move forward in confidence, sometimes in fear. Sometimes we make blind decisions, not knowing what the outcome will be. But we move anyway, because staying stuck, sitting in the waiting room of life, hoping for perfect conditions, that's not living. That's delay dressed up as safety. So if you're sitting there today, waiting for the right time, the perfect setup, or for fear to disappear, let me tell you something that might free you. That moment isn't coming. You'll never feel 100% ready. You'll always wonder if you're doing the right thing. Doubt will still whisper in your ear. But that doesn't mean you're not ready to take the next step. It doesn't mean you should keep waiting. It means you should take that step, especially when it feels uncertain. There's no magical moment where everything suddenly aligns, where fear vanishes and you feel fully equipped to conquer the world. That moment we keep hoping for, it never quite arrives. Life doesn't hand you perfect conditions. The challenges won't just disappear, and the answers won't show up all at once. But what has happened slowly and powerfully is this. You begin to trust yourself. You learn to move even when your hands are shaking. You start to take action, not because you're confident, but because you're willing to grow. And it's right there, in that space between fear and courage, where real transformation begins. That's where the growth lives. That's where the magic happens. Most of us spend so much time obsessed with getting it just right. We want the perfect plan, the perfect moment, the perfect version of ourselves. But here's the truth. The most fulfilled people you'll ever meet, they didn't wait. They didn't have all the answers. They weren't flawless or fearless. They were simply willing. Willing to begin, to fall, to learn, to rise. They got out of their own way. They took the leap even when the landing was uncertain. They didn't need to be perfect. They just needed to be present and persistent. So stop stalling. Stop telling yourself you need one more sign, one more reason, one more guarantee. Move forward, even if the path ahead feels foggy. You're not meant to see the whole staircase, just the next step. Because here's what becomes painfully clear with age. It's not the failures that haunt us. It's not the tries that didn't work out. It's the chances we never took, the dreams we shelved, the word we held back, the doors we never knocked on because we were afraid they wouldn't open. And that realization, when it finally hits, cuts deeper than failure ever could. Let me tell you something. Regret carries a sting unlike any other. It's not the pain of falling short or failing that leaves a lasting mark. It's the pain of never leaping in the first place. It's the ache of the what-ifs that echo in your mind. The chances you didn't take. The dreams you tucked away in the name of timing. The opportunities you watched slip through your fingers while you waited for the right moment to arrive. But here's the hard truth. That perfect moment, it doesn't exist. Time doesn't pause for you to gather courage. It doesn't wait for you to feel ready or confident or certain. It just moves quietly, relentlessly. And one day, you look back and realize it was the moments you let pass that leave the deepest scars. We're so conditioned to avoid failure. We fear falling short. We worry about looking foolish or being rejected. That fear keeps us paralyzed. And it's normal, we all feel it. But as you get older, something shifts. You begin to see that failure was never the true enemy. It was just part of the journey, part of learning, evolving, becoming. In fact, some of life's richest lessons are born from failure. It teaches resilience, reveals what doesn't work, and forces you to grow. But here's the twist. Failure, in hindsight, often feels lighter than regret. Because what truly weighs heavy on your heart isn't falling. It's never trying. It's looking back and asking, what if? What if I had been brave enough? What if I had spoken up? What if I had just started? I've had deep conversations with people in their later years, and they rarely talk about the mistakes they made. What haunts them is the silence, the hesitation, the moments they talk themselves out of living fully. They didn't step out of the comfort zone. They didn't chase that dream. They didn't believe in their own voice when it mattered most. Maybe they were scared of failing. Maybe they feared being judged. Or maybe, like so many of us, they simply convinced themselves they weren't enough. But as time passes, one truth rises above all the noise. The what-ifs never leave quietly. They stay with you. They follow you like shadows, whispering through the years, reminding you of the stories that were never written because you never tried. But life doesn't give you a warning before the last time you'll see someone. There's no alert, no final note that says, this is it. Things don't always go according to plan. And often, we're left carrying only what was said, or painfully, what was never said. One of the clearest truths that settles in with age is this. You don't know what's possible unless you try. You don't know your own strength until you push beyond your comfort zone. That fear you feel, it's normal. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of falling short. But if you let fear steer the wheel, you'll miss the very moments meant to shape you. I've met people who carry regret like a second skin because they kept waiting for clarity, for readiness, for the right moment. But the truth is that perfect moment rarely arrives. And while you wait, time doesn't. It keeps moving, quietly, constantly. We spend far too much energy holding on to pride, holding back words we should have said, staying silent when we should have spoken up. We carry grudges like armor, not realizing they weigh us down far more than they protect us. But at some point, you have to make a choice. You have to step into the unknown, even if it scares you. Because even in failure, there's progress. Even in fear, there's forward motion. It often takes just one moment to see it. How quickly life can change. How fragile our plans really are. We've all seen people pass up incredible opportunities. Not because they weren't capable, but because they were afraid. Afraid of what others might think. Afraid of falling short. Afraid of being vulnerable. Some stayed in jobs they hated. Some remained in relationships that drained them. Not because they didn't want more, but because they feared the unknown. And years later, it's not the failure they mourn. It's the chance they never took. The words they never said. The "I love you" that remained unspoken. The apology left hanging in silence. Here's the part we often forget. We overthink everything. We analyze every outcome. We measure every risk. But fear doesn't protect us. It paralyzes us. And while we're stuck weighing possibilities, life continues without pause. Yes, there may be setbacks. Yes, it might not go as planned. But how will you ever know what's on the other side of the leap if you never take it? We don't talk enough about that kind of slow grief, the one that comes from people still alive, but no longer present. The guilt that creeps in when we realize we let distance grow without trying to close it. That's the ache we carry when we realize fear stopped us from living fully. We often tell ourselves we'll reconnect later, that we'll bridge the gap eventually. But sometimes that distance never closes. Not because we didn't care, but because we didn't act soon enough. Sure, there might be challenges, and yes, it may be uncomfortable. But take it from those who've lived through it. The deepest regret often isn't about what went wrong. It's about the moments we let slip by. Think about it for a second. What's really the worst that could happen if you take the risk? You might fall short. You might stumble. But even in that failure, you'll walk away with something priceless. A lesson, a new perspective, a deeper understanding of yourself and others. And maybe, just maybe, you'll find the courage to try again with more clarity and strength. Now, I want you to pause and think of someone in your life right now. Someone you haven't spoken to in a long time. Someone you miss deeply. Or maybe someone you've had tension with. Someone you need to make peace with. Why not reach out? Isn't it better to look back someday and say, at least I tried, than to sit with the ache of wondering, what they had reached out first? What if you'd said what was on your heart? Those lingering questions, those silent regrets, are what keep people up at night. They create a quiet pain that doesn't go away easily. But here's the good news. It's not too late. It's never too late to take that first brave step. It's never too late to make the call, to mend the bond, to chase the dream that's been living inside you for too long. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. That moment doesn't exist. It never did. And while you're holding out for it, life is moving forward. You don't need everything to be right. You just need to begin. And no, I'm not saying it'll be easy. Some relationships are layered with years of silence or misunderstanding. Some dreams come with real risk. But don't let fear be your excuse. Don't let silence become your story. Distance doesn't always mean the end. And time doesn't heal what you never faced. At the end of the day, the biggest regret won't be that you failed. It'll be that you never tried. You have to be the one to make the call, to send the message, to create the opportunity. Even if it's uncomfortable, even if it doesn't go the way you hope, it's still worth it. Because once you've taken that leap, at least you'll never have to wonder, what if I had tried? Don't let those what-ifs haunt you into silence. I've seen strong men cry. Men who carried the weight of regret for never saying, I'm sorry, to their fathers. I've seen women in their 60s break down because they never told their mothers how much they admired them. I've listened to stories of best friends who drifted apart and never found their way back. And there's always the same quiet pain in their eyes. A silent ache, not just for what was lost, but for what was never said. You've probably heard the old saying, you don't know what you've got until it's gone. But when you hear it from someone who's lived through the loss, it hits differently. I've had long talks with people much older than me, and without exception, they all say the same thing. I wish I had taken better care of the people I loved and of myself. Don't let your final words be words you regret. Don't wait until you've run out of time to say what's in your heart. Reach out. Speak the truth. Let the people around you know they are loved, appreciated, and valued. Even if it's been years, even if you're unsure how they'll respond. Because someday, that chance will be gone. When we're young, we feel invincible. We stay up all night, eat whatever we want, run on fumes, and still feel like nothing can touch us. But the truth is, our bodies, just like our hearts, have limits. We wear them down without realizing how fragile they really are. And one day, usually without warning, we feel the cost. That's the moment it hits us. We're not invincible. We don't bounce back as quickly. We start to understand just how important it is to take care of ourselves. Physically, emotionally, spiritually. I've heard people say, I wish I had listened to my doctor sooner. Or, I wish I had respected my body when I still had time to heal. But by then, the damage is already done. And that's one of the hardest truths to face. You can't rewind time to treat yourself better. You can't go back and undo years of neglect or stress or pretending you were fine. And yet, we keep living like we have forever. You might gather wisdom over time, learning from experience and mistakes, but no one ever truly has it all figured out. We're all just trying to make the best of the hand we've been dealt, telling ourselves, I'll take care of that later. But the truth is, later is a dangerous illusion. We say we'll start exercising tomorrow. We promise ourselves next week will be better. But somehow, that perfect time never actually comes. We wait for a magical moment, the one where we finally feel ready to commit, where we feel strong and energized and in control. But while we're putting it off, our bodies are quietly keeping score. We assume we can always bounce back, always catch up, but that's not how it works. Your body is smarter than you think. It remembers every late night you pushed through with no rest. Every fast food meal you told yourself didn't matter. Every ache or pain you brushed aside, thinking it was no big deal. And over time, all those small moments add up. They become the foundation for the struggles you'll face later. And if you're waiting to feel fully prepared before making a change, You'll just keep delaying the things that matter most. The most successful people I know didn't have it all figured out. They weren't waiting for the perfect moment. They didn't let uncertainty paralyze them. They took that first step even when they were unsure of the outcome. As we grow older, the messages we used to ignore start to sound less like motivational quotes and more like warnings. Because when your health begins to slip, everything else fades into the background. It becomes clear, painfully clear, that all the money, success, or recognition in the world means nothing if your body can't carry you through life with strength. And here's the part we often don't acknowledge. We all know this deep down. We just don't feel its weight until it's too late. We get caught up in the race, working, pushing, striving, so focused on achieving that we forget to care for the very thing that makes achievement possible, our health. We tell ourselves we'll slow down once we get there, once the job is done, once the pressure lifts. But what if that moment never arrives? What if your body gives out before you ever reach the finish line you've been chasing? Taking care of yourself isn't selfish, it's essential. Because the only way to live the life you're working so hard for is to be well enough to enjoy it. We need to stop waiting for a wake-up call and start prioritizing our health now. Not tomorrow, not next month, but today. It's not just about getting more sleep or squeezing in a workout because someone said you should. It's about actually tuning into what your body is asking for and making it a non-negotiable part of your life. The truth is, you'll never feel perfectly ready. You'll never have all the answers lined up. And honestly, that's okay. The people you admire, the ones who seem to have it all figured out, didn't start with a perfect plan. They started by listening to their bodies, by learning through trial and error, and by understanding that wellness is not a finish line. It's a lifestyle. Taking care of yourself doesn't mean being flawless. It doesn't mean living on green juice and counting every calorie. It means choosing the stairs instead of the elevator, drinking water when you'd rather have soda, and getting some fresh air when your mind feels cluttered. It means making small, sustainable choices that honor your body's needs, not out of punishment, but out of care. The truth is, the people you think have it all together, they've doubted themselves too. They've made unhealthy choices, skipped meals, and ignored signs of burnout. But what sets them apart is that they didn't stay there. They learned to listen, to adjust, and to start again. Even the smallest decisions, stretching in the morning, stepping away from your screen, choosing real food over convenience, those choices compound. Over time, they build a foundation of strength, balance, and resilience. And it's not just about your physical health. Mental and physical well-being are deeply connected. Stress, anxiety, and depression don't just affect your mind. They wear down your body, too. Sleepless nights, constant pressure, pushing through exhaustion like it's a badge of honor. It catches up with you. Slowly at first, then all at once. When you neglect your body, your mind suffers. When you ignore your mental health, your body pays the price. So take the time to rest. Breathe, move, nourish. Because the life you want to live requires you to be well enough to live it. That's because staying stuck in the waiting room of life can feel deceptively safe. But the older we get, the more clearly we realize just how much time we've let slip by waiting. So if you're sitting here today, hesitating for the perfect moment, waiting until you feel completely ready, let me be honest with you. That moment isn't coming. There's no grand signal, no magical green light that tells you you're 100% prepared. If you keep waiting until everything aligns, you may find yourself waiting until it's too late. Don't wait until your body gives you a wake-up call. Don't wait until you're forced to make a change because you no longer have the strength to choose it freely. You'll always have doubts. You'll always wonder if you're doing the right thing. And that's part of the journey. The truth is, it's never too late to shift course. It doesn't mean you have to change everything overnight. It means making the decision today to begin caring for yourself better, because your health is the foundation of everything else. Without it, even the smallest things can become overwhelming. As life goes on, one thing becomes increasingly clear. Success isn't defined by how high you climb, how impressive your job title is, how much money you make, or how many trophies line your shelf. It's not the accolades that fulfill you. It's the life you build around them. And at the heart of that life are the relationships you've nurtured, the people who've stood by you, and the way you've made them feel. The most fulfilled people I've met weren't the ones who had every detail of life figured out. They were the ones who took imperfect action. The ones who stopped waiting for a perfect plan and simply started walking forward, even when they didn't know exactly where the path would lead. Because when you look back at the end of your life, what truly matters won't be how polished your resume was. It'll be who showed up for you and who you showed up for in return. So stop waiting. Start now, even if it's messy, even if it's small, because the journey isn't just about where you end up. It's about everything you live through on the way. The real regrets in life aren't about the things that went wrong. They're about the chances you never took. The relationships you let fade away. Whether it was a family member, a friend, or even a colleague, it's the moments you let pass that leave the deepest mark. Because here's the truth. Life's greatest meaning doesn't come from wealth or accolades. It comes from connection. The people around you. The ones who truly see you, who stand beside you through the highs and lows. They're the ones who define your life. Everything else, it's background noise. No amount of money, success, or recognition can ever replace the feeling of knowing you're deeply loved, understood, and supported. But we often miss this in the pursuit of that so-called perfect moment. We tell ourselves we'll reach out tomorrow. We'll reconnect later. But later isn't guaranteed. Time moves, with or without us. And before you know it, you glance back and realize that the moments you thought you had more of are gone. The material things we chase, they don't offer lasting fulfillment. They can't compare to the joy of real connection, the comfort of a friend's voice, the warmth of shared memories. Think about it. When the end of your life draws near, what will truly matter? Will you think about the meetings you sat through, the deals you closed, the awards you won? Or will your heart drift to the people who stay by your side? The friends who accepted you as you are, the family who loved you through your mistakes, the partner who dreamed beside you and stood strong through every storm? It won't be the titles, the trophies, or the bank balance that fills your final thoughts. It'll be faces, moments, laughter, forgiveness, love, and not the quantity of people in your life, but the quality of your connection with them. This isn't about having a crowded room. It's about having someone whose presence means everything. I've spoken with so many people, especially those in their later years, and nearly all of them say the same thing. Their biggest regret isn't that they failed. It's that they didn't try. They held back from forming deeper relationships. They didn't make time for the people who mattered most. And in the end, that silence echoes louder than any failure ever could. Stepping out of your comfort zone is the only way to create the kind of relationship that truly fulfills you from the inside out. You don't have to wear a mask. You don't have to pretend to be someone you're not. And yet, many people hold back because they fear the unknown. Maybe they're worried about how others will perceive them. Maybe they've convinced themselves they're not worthy of that kind of connection. But those fears, those doubts, are the very things that prevent us from forming the meaningful relationships we deeply crave. One of the clearest realizations that comes with age is this. There's nothing more painful than neglecting the people you love most. We get so wrapped up in chasing success, likes, or followers that we forget to nurture what really matters. Regret lingers like a shadow. It whispers of what could have been, of the love we didn't express, of the time we didn't spend. We fool ourselves into believing there will always be more time, that we can make it up later. But the truth? There are no guarantees. No one is promised tomorrow. No one can assure you that the chance to fix, to reconnect, or to show up will still be there. Let me tell you plainly, the world won't wait for you to feel ready. The people who matter won't wait forever for you to reach out. You'll never know your potential unless you dare to stretch beyond the fear. You'll never understand the depth of what's possible until you push past the doubt and take the leap. You can't delegate this part of life. No one else can do it for you. If you keep waiting for the right time to build meaningful relationships, you'll end up watching life pass you by. Because real connection doesn't demand perfection, it demands presence. It calls for you to show up wholeheartedly and invest in the bonds that nourish your soul. When it's all over, you can't take your possessions with you, but you can leave behind the love you shared, the kindness you gave, and the memories you created with the people who mattered most. That's what truly lives on. Too many people let fear make their choices. They stay in jobs they despise, remain in uninspiring relationships, and let their dreams fade, all because they're afraid of the discomfort that change brings. But in the end, isn't the bigger risk never changing at all? Everyone seems so focused on what's next that they forget to appreciate what's right in front of them. Later, when they finally pause to look back, it's rarely the failures that haunt them. It's the missed chances, the delayed starts, and the people who truly mattered but slipped away unnoticed. In a world that constantly pushes us forward, we spend so much time overanalyzing our choices. We obsess over every possible outcome, imagining everything that could go wrong. And in doing so, we pull ourselves away from what's real, from the simple, grounding truth of meaningful connection. The fear of failing keeps us stuck. It convinces us that staying safe is the best option. But the irony is that this very fear robs us of the experiences that bring life its deepest meaning: love, relationships, purpose. I've seen fear turn strong people away from their dreams. I've seen it build invisible walls between friends and distance between hearts that were once close. But here's a question worth asking. What's truly the worst that could happen if you take that chance? Yes, you might fail. You might not meet every expectation. But even in failure, you will grow. You will uncover a new part of yourself. And sometimes, that's the most important discovery of all. Those moments of courage, of risk, of reaching out. Those are the building blocks of a life well lived. Isn't that worth more than the illusion of a perfect, comfortable life spent avoiding risk? The truth is, success without heart means very little. And if we let the pursuit of perfection blind us to presence, we lose the very essence of being alive. So show up for yourself and for the people who matter most. Love deeply, express honestly, and remember, it's not the failures that linger, it's the what-ifs. The conversations never had, the relationships never mended, the dreams left unexplored. Because when the dust settles, it's the road not taken and the words left unspoken that echo the loudest in your soul. Wishing you strength, happiness, and meaningful connections. Take care of yourself, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Mindset Daily, for more inspiring content to help you live your best life.